Hi guys, Bobby Gass here. I was watching a stream last week and a bunch of different people on the panels. They were showing records, right? And I happened to make a comment that nobody ever shows blues records anymore, or they never did much anyhow. And one of the other people in the comments says, "Well, why don't you show them? I'm sure other people will be interested and maybe some will show their blues records." So I figured, why the hell not? So I grabbed a pile of records, like about yay high. I didn't put in, I don't think I put any comps in it. I got a lot of comps, and the records I got here, most of the guys I got, I got multiple albums of, like Muddy and the Wolf, the standard guys, right? Albert King and so on, such and such and so on. But anyhow, let's get at it here, eh? I mean, blues. There's an awful lot of guys that are unknown, and many I don't know too, right? But let's get on with it here. First off, here I'm gonna show you English blues. A couple of English blues guys, because I started getting into the blues when I first heard it in the early '60s, and I loved it. And then all of a sudden, you start hearing the English guys playing, and I loved the way their interpretation of it. To me, it was fresh, and one of the best bands was Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. I've got all of Peter's Fleetwood Mac albums, right? I love Peter, right? He had there's out of all the white guys in Britain, none of them really had, had the blues, that touch, right? They were all flashy and stuff like that, but he was, I don't know, he was the blues to me, right? Another great blues band here is Chicken Shack. Stan Webb, guitar player, right? This is a repress. The original of this cost quite a bit of money. And of course, Led Zeppelin, eh? I mean, when this album come out in '69, it just blew me and everybody away, right? There's three songs on this that Willie Dixon wrote, right? Another great English blues band, Savoy Brown. Kim Simmons on guitar. This is my favorite Savoy Brown album. What's it called? A Step Further, right? See the guy with the top hat on? That's Chris Olden. He was on the five albums, number two, three, four, five, and six. Two, three, four, five, and six. Yeah, he was on only five albums. And this guy here, out of all the white guys I ever heard sing the blues, he was by far had it right. I loved the way this guy sang the blues. And then, once the English guys started playing the blues, the Americans rediscovered it, eh? I mean, the blues wasn't popular in the States until, I guess, '67 when Born Under a Bad Sign come out by Albert King. All the college kids and the hippies loved it, eh? Then, you had the Wolf and Muddy doing records over there in England, the Wolf, the London sessions, right? But the American boys, they started playing him. Johnny Winter, eh? He was one of the great practitioners of the States, right? Yeah, he was great, Johnny Winters. Another American band here that Albert King said was the best harmonica, white boy harmonica player he ever heard. But I guess he never heard Charlie Musselwhite. Paul Butterfield Blues Band, good band. Good blues band. And of course, a young guy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, right? Stevie Ray, he could play the blues. You know, Hendrix, he could play an awful lot. Rock, there's double trouble there, right? And now we get into the, you know, blues. You got Chicago blues, Delta blues, Memphis blues. You know, not 1,000 genres like they do for metal. But the started it all off, right, was he didn't start it, but I mean, a lot of people think he was your best guitar player. This is an original OG, right? That's Columbia 2i. And what's it called? King of the Delta Blues. And this is the second one, King of the Delta Blues #2. I think that was 1970. Another original 2i, right? Robert Johnson. You gotta like Robert Johnson. Gotta love Robert, eh? And my favorite of all time is the Wolf, Howlin' Wolf. I mean, the Wolf one time sat with me. I've told the story, right? Sat with me for 7 or 8 minutes while his band warmed up the crowd. What a night that was. I'm a big fan of harp players. Well, this ain't a harp player. It's Billie Holiday. I love Billie. This is a pretty good album. What's the name of that one about oh, I can't read it there. I don't have my glasses on. But Billie Holiday, she's blues. Here's Big Mama Thornton. I think this one's on, yeah, an Arhoolie label. Arhoolie, traditional old label of the blues. I got a number of Arhoolie records, not a whole bunch. One of the early guys, Big Joe Turner. I mean, he was doing rock and roll in the late 40s, Big Joe Turner, in the early 50s. Here's a harp player, Sonny Boy Williamson. There he is there, Sonny Boy, eh? With Memphis Slim, a great piano player, eh? Memphis Slim, if you ever see videos, blues videos of a black guy playing the piano and he's got a white streak up the center of his head there, that's Memphis Slim. Chess session, man. There's BB King. I seen all the Kings, Freddie Albert and BB. Freddie, my favorite. Uh, BB, I like early BB. When he did The Thrill Is Gone, it was such a great commercial success that he went commercial, right? From then on, right? He kind of lost me as a big time fan, right? There's Jimmy Witherspoon. Oh, we can't see that. I'd have to take it out of the jacket. I can't be bothered. I got a lot of records still. Yeah. Here's Muddy. I got a lot of albums by Muddy Waters actually, and the Wolf. Right? They're my two favorites, Muddy and the Wolf. Right? Speaking of Albert King, that's a later album of his. I Want to Get Funky. It's got some really good songs on it, actually. Funky Albert ain't bad. I gotta tell you, Funky Albert ain't bad. Always smokes that pipe, eh, Albert? Played them flying V guitars and always smoked the pipe. Oh, here's a classic guy, Jimmy Rogers, eh? That's not the Singing Railroad, Jimmy Rogers, either. Oops. There he is. Oops. Knocked over the mic. My main man, Willie Dixon. I seen him in the Chicago All-Stars, and I think it was around 71. And then later on that night, after the bar closed, about 2 o'clock in the morning, we run into him downtown in an all-night Chinese place called Sai Wu's, kind of famous. And Willie had about 5 bags of Chinese food, and they weren't, he had his own hotel room, so they were all for Willie. He's a big man. He had this. It was the wintertime, and he had this cashmere overcoat on, and the thing must have been worth a couple of $1,000. His bowler hat too, right? I love Willie, right? I mean, without him, chess would have never been chess. He's a guy who recruited all of the other session artists and stuff like that, right? Muddy was there before him, but chess really got rolling when Willie got there, right? There's J.B. Hudo, Hawk Squat. That's a pretty good album. J.B. Hudo and his Hawks. Some of you guys would know him. Of course, there's John Lee Hooker. Boogie Blues, The Hook. Gotta love The Hook. Buddy Guy. First time I seen him was in '69. He come out into the crowd. It was at that Train Festival concert. And he had the longest guitar cord I ever seen in my whole life. Must have been 200 feet long. Because he'd come off the stage, big stage, come out past where they had the free zone where nobody was allowed. They had a frost fence. And then through the frost fence and out into the crowd with his guitar and a mic. And he was singing and playing his guitar. And there was a guy, going around holding the cord for him. I couldn't believe how long the cord was, right? Buddy Guy, that was the first time I seen him. The last time I seen him was down at, they had a blues show here every year down in Port Credit in the summertime. And he played there, I don't know, maybe, 5, 6 years ago? Maybe it was longer, I don't know. He had the polka dot guitar too. There's Little Sonny, Black and Blue, another harp player, Little Sonny. Sings and plays harp. One of my favorite guys right here, Albert Collins. I seen Albert too, right? Love Albert Collins. Here's a real classic guy right here. Eddie Cleanhead Vinson, right? He played rock, blues, jazz, all kinds of stuff. Old Cleanhead Vinson. Got some great music. Old Eddie does. Here's a guy from the 20s and the 30s. Furry Lewis. He was a contemporary of Charlie Patton, He was around before Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson was like the 40s. This guy was the 20s and the 30s. Oh, let's turn that around. Papa John Creech. A lot of people, they see him with a fiddle and all of that, but Papa John, he also played guitar, and he had a band on a TV show called The Beat, I think it was called. What was the DJ's name that run the show? Haas something or other, right? and he played guitar, lead guitar player, and he wasn't bad. Sometimes he would play a fiddle, but he always had a guitar. He was playing guitar, and his band was really good, horns and stuff like that. You know, all black artists. It was a black show, right? Freddie King played there an awful lot, actually. Here's Willie Maybone. Willie Maybone. Some of you might know him. I got a couple of his albums. Great. These guys here, I put up over all 7 channels. I put up their music on my thing, right? Mighty Joe Young, Legacy of the Blues Volume 4. These were Russian pressings, and I couldn't believe how great they sounded. There's Mighty Joe Young. He was on the Beat program too, Mighty Joe Young. Big Joe Williams. That's the Russian pressings. Maybe I'll take one out and show it to you. No, it's on a blue label. I'd have to pull it out. Another one, Memphis Slim. We all know Memphis Slim. He's another pipe smoker. Juke Boy Bonner. He got some great music, the old Juke Boy. Johnny Copeland. I got a couple of his albums too. Johnny Copeland. Like I said, I love the harp players. There's James Cotton. Played with Muddy for a lot of years, James Cotton, man. There's champion Jack Dupree. Another good one, Champion Jack. Oh, here's another R. Hooley record. Big Mama in Europe. Here, let's show you the R. Hooley. R. Hooley Red. I got these off a buddy of mine. These 2 R. Hooleys, or 2 or 3 of the R. Hooleys. And he had them in his basement for like 30 years. And, they had gotten some, the covers weren't that great, eh? But the records were fantastic after I cleaned them up. Them old records, they play so much better than the new records. Anyhow, guys, show some blues if you feel like it. I know many of you don't have any. If you only got 2 or 3 records, I'd be interested to see them. Anyhow, later.